let's talk about that quickly. So where is she now?
The the Forever is in Athens. The crew and everybody is confined on the boat in Athens because Kostas, our captain, is Greek. He found a great spot to put the winter work to be done in Athens, and we're in Piraeus. And everybody's doing fine. The crew is. We got them some exercise equipment to put up on the fly. They get to go on the quay, restricted, but they get to go on the quay one at a time, and so they're doing great. I mean, Kostas has been magnificent. The unfortunate thing is that all of the boats, a lot of them are charter boats that are around us, and all of the crews were just told to go home. No salaries, Stu.
They were just said, get off the boat, leave.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I think is absolutely horrendous. But thank God we're able to keep our crew on and pay them their salaries, and they're good. Kostas keeps asking us when we're going to get on board, and I said, when they allow us to travel, I don't even know if we're going to have any of our guests coming over, because if this thing is going all the way through September or the summertime, as they're talking about, maybe it's just going to be us and me on the boat floating around. I don't know what we're going to do yet. I'm going to wait until the end of May and find out what we're going to do.
But you must be getting kind of itchy, because you famously spend a lot of time on the boat. You have long seasons and do a lot of traveling. So by now, presumably, you had this not happen, you'd be on the boat right now, or if not now, very close now.
We'd be on the boat middle of May until September. So because I did this year, I cut down on the cruising time. I told the crew we'd only be on the boat for 3.5 months or so because of my mother's situation. We wanted to get back to the States. We had a couple of weddings. Yeah, but anyway, we're usually on the boat 5 months. And it goes very fast. So yeah. I don't know. We're still scheduled, but I'm very uncertain about it.
So what was the plan for this year, for those 5 months?
Greece and Croatia, and ending up in Venice.
Oh, beautiful. And so let's say you get an opportunity to jump on board in July and you get some of August, fingers crossed, then, there's still, a good 2 months of cruising you could potentially do.
We could, if the countries are not crazy, especially Croatia doesn't get hit with this stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe even Kostas was talking about maybe doing a little bit of time. If we don't do Croatia, we do a little bit of Turkey on the coast. But I'm in the beholden area of being able to fly out of Spain. So far, there's no private aircraft going anywhere out of Spain.
So complete lockdown of all.
Lockdown. Airports are closed down, except for cargo coming in and out. But no private aircraft, no commercial flights going anywhere.
So even if Greece was open, you couldn't get to the boat?
At this moment, no. I don't know what May is going to bring, but my cutoff point is end of May, because we still have 5 or 6 days in June where we were going to go crawl on the boat. But I've got to wait and see. Excuse me. I got to wait and see what happens here with the air corridors.
Yeah. You mentioned
everybody same boat.
And what was the winter work that you had done on the boat?
Well, they replaced all the caulking on the teak, on the decks, all of that. We have white caulking instead of the black caulking, on the decks. So they replaced all of that. We did polish the boat because the boat goes into painting next year. So we polished it up this year. Did a lot of IT work on the equipment. They cleaned all of the vents, air conditioning vents, and all of the equipment room was repainted and redone, the engine room. And mostly all aesthetic, changing all of the decoration inside. We have a bunch of paintings and we changed all of the paintings around. Our decorator did all of that. ISA did some cushion work, that little stuff. The big stuff is coming up next year for the paint.
Repaint.
Yeah, it's been 5 years now. We got to get her painted up.
Any ideas where you do that?
Viareggio. It's already contracted.
Oh, good.
Luzman is going to do it.
Oh, they'll do a good job.
They were very good. They were very good about that.
Yeah. But Forever One is a very unique boat. Completely custom 54-meter boat, styled. There's nothing else quite like her out there, really. So can you tell us a bit about the design of Forever One, how you arrived at that design? Because it's quite an aggressive, sporty design, and it's completely unique to you.
Well, we as I mentioned, we 5 Mangustas, and we went fast and using up a lot of gasoline, cruising the blazes out of the south of France and a little bit of Italy. And we got to the point where we had covered all of that area and it was going so fast that Fernando Nicholson, one day we were talking the 130 on the Mangusta. I said, you know what? I'm tired of the area. I need to go cruising somewhere else. And on the Mangustas, because they were not a displacement boat. We couldn't go out if there was a sea a little bit above 3. We couldn't go anywhere. We locked up into ports a lot. So he said, you know what? Why don't we talk to my dad? And so when we finished up the cruising season, we were in Nice and we saw George Nicholson. And I started talking to him about it, and he said, you know what? Maybe it's time to change. And I said, yeah, but all the boats I've seen out there, I don't like. He said, so build one. And Fernando said, well, I introduce you to this. So we talked to this very nice guy, Horacio Bosso. And I told him what I wanted. He said, hey, let me give me a couple of months. And that's how we got started on the idea of a slow boat. And then we started talking size and what we need to do. So Horacio came to our homes in Mexico and our homes here in Spain. And we talked a lot about how we live and how we entertain. And he started up doing the drawings, and we got really excited about it because he understood that I didn't want a regular boat. He said, but be advised now, if you do something crazy like we're talking about, resale value, who knows? I said, I don't care. I'm not worried about that. The boat's going to be like my last boat, and it's going to be forever.
Yeah.
That key word, forever, ended up being the name of the damn boat, with ISA being my Forever One. So Horacio understood perfectly that I didn't want a regular Benetti or Amels or all of the boats that we've seen out there, and went to all the boat shows in between times. I didn't see anything I liked. So it did end up being a house on the water. And with all of our problems with my clothes, walk-in closets for Elsa and me, and separate bathrooms, and all that kind of stuff, we kept adding meters to this thing until we got to the 54, and George Nicholson said, don't go over 5. You don't need it. So I took his advice, because I figured, if I go another meters, what's it going to hurt? Well, the pricing on the per meter started getting involved, So anyway, Horacio built this thing so that the staff and the crew and everybody and our guests and the crew could be on equal footing. Because I did know from other boats how horrible the crew quarters were. We started off, believe it or not, on the crew quarters. I said, they've got to have at least the same comfort level that the guests have on the boat.
Yeah.
So that took us to all of the decorating stuff, and we went and found the V-Spring factory in the UK. Because I thought sleeping is very important for the crew, right?
Of course.
So S and I had V-Spring. So we went to the V-Spring factory in the UK, which was a great experience. And we got everybody V-Spring mattresses for the boat. And from there on up to everybody being comfortable. And what we did. You will see that the boat, we have a living area. I hated walking into a boat and seeing the dining, you know?
So say that bit again, you just cut out that bit. So you hated walking into a boat and seeing
a couple of chairs and then the dining room being the centerpiece of the boat. So I said, I want the salon to be a centerpiece unto its own. Get me my dining area away from that. So we did. That's what we did, a family room. On the forward part of the boat.
Yeah.
And then the tow issue came up. I had already seen an Isao, and I told Horacio, I said, I need an Isao on this boat. He said, what? I said, well, I want an Isao as my tender. No, that's not a tender, that's a toy.
Yeah.
I said, okay, so get me a large area. Ended up being up on the bow so that we could put the bloody sail that I've got a model here of, and the regular tender for the crew. So that's what we did. That's why the 54.5. That 0.5 was to allow the sail to fit in a bow tender garage.
That's it's an expensive tender, an expensive half a meter for an expensive tender.
Yeah, but I love that thing. That's I've gotten certified on it. I know how to drive it by myself. I usually take a crew member with me, but that's what I enjoy doing. You know, when that thing comes out, it's a celebration.
So that's your speed fix nowadays. So you don't have the Mangustas anymore. So you're not doing 25 knots in the mothership, but you can do 40 knots in the tender.
That is the point, sir. I can't even begin to tell you what this thing was flying around in the fjords of Norway, absolute flat, and 48 knots on this thing. That was beautiful.
Dream. What a dream.
There's pictures. But thanks. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's just interesting because you sent me the picture of the Chriscraft. Was it your grandfather's Chriscraft or your father's Chriscraft?
Yeah, my grandfather's.
And that, because I mean, that is an elegant, lovely boat as well, and the kind of in the mold-ish of the Isao. So there's kind of there's a nice thread there between those two boats. I mean, your first experience on the water was this beautiful old Chriscraft.
That was 1950, in the 50s. And I can tell you that that was the boat of the day in my part of the world. Every weekend, if I wasn't on the beach, we were on the HH. And I had promised myself that one day I was going to have a boat. You know? So I told you the story. My father and I went to a bunch of boat shows back in the late 70s. We found a place on the river where we were going to store the boat. We went to a couple of boat shows. And we were ready to go on the boat deal when we decided that it was a better idea for me not to work in the family business. There were issues that came along. So I went to university and found myself a job with Procter & Gamble, and I went to Mexico City. So the boat deal was finished. And it wasn't until much later on in my life that it ended up with the first 72. But no question, to me, there is no greater privilege than to be floating around and having opportunity to go to different parts of the world. Absolutely. On your own boat. That's my floating house.
And that's something you've done on Forever One. I mean, you've done some serious sea miles on that boat.
Yes, sir, we have. Thank God. There's not a place on this planet in Europe that we haven't cruised. Now, having said that, the other part of, I'd rather take a big boat than try to do all of the logistics of taking my own boat around to Africa and the Middle East and the Far East. I'm not going to do that.
So that would,
is the cruise.
so you might charter something in those places rather than figure out how to get Forever One there.
We've done 2 world cruises, one on the Queen Elizabeth and another one on Crystal. We've done all of South America on a Crystal cruise. So we've covered the planet. I don't even think I'd go charter in that part of the world. I don't think it's necessary. If I charter anywhere, it would be in the Caribbean, which we have done. But I don't. The Middle East and the Far East, not my cup of tea. I don't think so.
What about where in Europe, given all you've gone everywhere, Baltic, Norway, all over the Med. So where is there a particular, where's your fondest memory from? Or do you have a favorite place in Europe?
I would tell you that, not to be disparaging about the Riviera, but we got tired of that. But no question, Greece and the Baltic area is unquestionably the most beautiful cruising areas we've seen anyway. Turkey, with a couple of areas of the coast of Turkey that are beautiful, but there's nothing like, we had blanketed Greece and we love it.
Yeah.
Being tied up to rocks in the middle of nowhere and just enjoying the countryside is pretty damn good.
Well, that's the wild thing about Greece. I mean, there's so much of Greece, isn't there? And you look at all the boats in the Med, you think, how could you possibly find a corner of this sea that no one else is in? But there are places in Greece you can find that are just yours and yours alone, total solitary.
Well, you know what? Having a Greek captain makes that particular part of the world very important.
Yeah.
Because they know where to go and they get out of the weather and they tie up to these little coves where there's nobody. And that's spectacular. Spectacular. Every day is a different area. Plus, the people in Greece are extremely welcoming to the boating people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have really enjoyed that. Really enjoyed that.
You got to be careful talking up your captain too much because someone else will steal him. You got to be careful.
Well, you know, we have a loyalty program in our family. We haven't lost anybody that we didn't want to get lost.
That's good.
We make it very difficult for that to happen.
Yeah. Well, you do treat your crew really well, don't you? I mean, they are part of the family. The rotation for senior crew and all that kind of stuff.
Well, you know, we have a philosophy that if our people are happy, we're happy.
Yeah.
We've got 180,000 people working for us in our business, and we take good care because they're the ones that allow us to sleep good at night.
Absolutely.
You know? And so the crew is treated with an enormous amount of respect. We allow them to have downtime in consideration of their work, and they appreciate that. You know, we have, I think, Costas and Stewart, your tocayo, which we call him in Mexico, guys with the same name. He's the XO. Are very conscious of how we like to treat our people, and they have done a magnificent job of that. So I think we have a reputation, our crew has a reputation in the industry of being a happy crew, I think. I'm told that anyway. Some of the people we've lost is because we understood that they had to keep going on their career path, you know. Deckhands and stewardesses, we understood they had to go on and get their licenses and work their way up. So we've lost people because of that, because of overstress and overwork on the boat. That's for sure.
Well, do you most commonly lose people because they want to work on a because you don't charter, obviously, and so the people are lured by the tips associated with the popular charter boats. So, I mean, it's kind of incumbent on private owners like you who don't charter to treat your crew really well, or else the temptation is go and get big fat tips on a charter yacht, I suppose.
Well, there's another thing. You're right, and I understand. They have to get on bigger boats, or they have to go and charter boats, or they have to. I don't know how exactly how all of the licensing thing works. Suffice it to say that the captain takes care of that, and I would never charter my boat, my deal, no. But I understand that people take these charter boats and the crew, and sometimes they shut her down and just wait until the next season comes up, and people go find their way. Our crew is they're on payroll all year long. They don't have to worry about getting season and not having any coverage, you know. So that's something that we care of. Probably expensive, but it's worth it to us.
Well, it sounds like the charter boats around Forever One in Athens. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a very good situation at all. If the crew have just been kicked off the boats and sent home, that's terrible.
That's what Costas told me, and you know, I don't understand that. There's got to be some kind of protection for these people. I can't even imagine the frustration these people have, especially when they're probably a very, very bad charter season coming up.
Yeah.
I talked to Fernando and I said, how's the charter been? He said, not good. Not good. Scared to death in a boat and, you know, have a crew member come up or whatever. And so there's no charter business that he knows of for this summer.
Yeah, it's going to be a lean season. Just fingers crossed that we get some of July and August. Here's hoping.
Well, I don't know what your people are telling you, but I can understand the reticence of people getting on an airplane or going somewhere and getting on a boat with people they don't know where they've been.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that is there's absolutely some disquiet about that. If biosecurity now is going to become much more of a thing, I think, in the super yacht game. So, you know, having people health check before they get on boats and all that kind of stuff, it's inevitable, I suppose, now.
Well, not only that, but, you know, getting the boat cleansed every time you turn around with guests, I mean, that's got to be a hell of a headache on a charter.
And especially with quick turnarounds too, you know, it's a lot of boat to deep clean, I suppose, before the next round of guests.
Yeah, we give our people 4 days before we get crew turnaround. I mean, guest turnaround. They get 4 days from the day our one guest group leaves to the next on board is 4 days of downtime and do all of the cleaning and all of the stuff. We're very picky about that. And so 1 day turnarounds for the crews have got to be a headache.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, that period of decompression between your guests turning up is important.
Yes, we do that.
Yeah. Bruce, that's great. Thank you so much.
Thanks a million. It's great talking to you.